Okay. I appreciate you being here. Thank you so much. And we will proceed. I forgot to do a first and second person. We'll do that right now. Take one of those, please. Matt Norton. Matt Norton running for sheriff. Welcome.
Thank you. Hello, my name is Matt Norton. I'm excited to run for sheriff, Wilson County. I started my career back in 2002 with the Wilson County Sheriff's Office as a reserve deputy. In 2003, I went to work in the jail as a jailer, plus doing the reserve deputy stuff. From there, I moved up to a road position and eventually worked my way up to a detective with the Sheriff's Office. In 2016, I moved down to the Tulsa area where I went to work for Okmulgee County Sheriff's Office for about a year and a half. So I'm currently certified in Kansas and Oklahoma as a law enforcement officer. From there, I decided to come back home. This is my home community. It's where I started. It's where I want to finish. I'm currently working for the Neosho Police Department and just decided to give this a try and we'll see what happens.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Matt. Jack Lucke.
Everybody hear me? Okay. My name's Jack Lucke, running for Wilson County Sheriff. I was born and raised in Neosho County. Next month, I'll have lived in Wilson County for the last 20 years. Been married for 47 years. Have 2 adult children, 2 grandchildren. Been in law enforcement for 33 and a half years. Approximately 25 of those years I've been in a supervisory position. I've served as senior officer, sergeant, detective. Worked for Wilson County for the last 18 and a half of those years as a lieutenant. I've been chief of police for 3 years in the city of Erie. Prior to being chief, worked for the city of Erie, and after 9 months, I was left there in charge of the department for 2. Another time I was left in charge of the department for 6 months. I got a phone call one afternoon at 2 o'clock. They told me they needed the budget by 4. So I went up there and got that done. I have served 7 years on a SWAT team. I was council member for the city of Buffalo for 10 years. Last 4 of those was president of the council. Was left in charge of Wilson County Sheriff's Office for 2 months prior to administrative not being there. And the reason I'm running for sheriff, I see some changes that could be made in the sheriff's office that can better benefit the citizens of Wilson County with their law enforcement needs. Thank you.
Thank you, Jack. You just wait a minute. You'll go first on the question.
Okay.
I neglected to do something. I need a timekeeper. Anybody got a phone going to keep time for us? Connie, can you do that? Seth, if you want to do that. Seth can do that. Okay. You want to do it, Seth? Seth can do it up here. Seth can do it up here. And,
You didn't know you were getting roped into all this, did you?
Thank you, Seth. Oh, and I might introduce Seth. This is Seth Baker. He's my eldest son, and he helps me out when I get in tech problems. Thank you, Seth. Okay. Well, that's what did I say? 1 minute, two minutes. No, yeah, 2 minutes. 2 minutes. 2 minutes for answers. Yeah. You can expound on this. What are you doing right now that sets you apart from the other candidates?
What am I doing at this time?
Right now.
Well, so June the 12th, I actually retired from the Wilson County Sheriff's Office, so I could run for the sheriff position. I've had experience in budget, leadership, training. I've gone to supervisor school. Had the reserve since 2001, as head of the reserve. Like I said earlier, been chief of police.
That's fine. You don't have to fill full time. So okay. Thank you. Thank you. Matt, would you answer the same question? What are you doing right now?
Currently, right now, I still work for the Interstate Police Department. The past few years, there's been some changes down there that I think most people are aware of. They've got a new chief. We've got a real good department going down there, and things I've learned there is teamwork's really making a difference in that town. If you read the paper, you see it's in there a lot. I know when I first started up there, the theft reports and stuff like that were pretty active. Now it's slowing way down. It's kind of rare that we're taking theft reports. Things I learned when I was running Oklahoma is the same thing. I mean, I've seen a real good teamwork effort down there. If you're having a problem in the community somewhere, you know, one guy's not going to solve it, but working together as a whole team, and that includes the sheriff all the way down, makes a big difference. You know, communication with the public, you know, that's how you solve stuff. You know, you go out and talk to the public and find out what's going on. It's things like that that I'm seeing that I believe would make a big difference in the community.
Thank you. And Matt, you'll take the next question. This question came in a little bit lengthy, but it basically says, will you be a working sheriff or a desk sitting sheriff? And just explain the job a little bit in that realm.
Honestly, the administrative side is going to be my struggle point because I don't like sitting in the office. I like to be out in the community. So the secretaries are probably going to be wringing my neck to find me. But I plan to be a working sheriff. And I realize in saying that there's a lot of other things that go along with that because there are administrative sides. But to me, being a sheriff is not about an 8-to-5 job. I mean, you signed up for it, you're signing up for everything. You know, you need to be available 24/7. And to me, that's all part of it.
Thank you. Will you make use of community services for restitution?
The first one. Oh, I'm sorry. The working sheriff. You have to keep me in order. Yes, I do plan on being working sheriff. I work for 2 sheriff offices under 4 sheriffs and 2 police departments under 3 or 4 chiefs. Definitely, you have to be a leader. You'll hire new guys that don't know what's going on. You train them. To be a working sheriff, you have to get out and work with them. For the administrative court, I can handle that work as well. I've done so in the past. I was a working chief in Erie when I was there. But I believe you have to get out, talk to the people, as Matt said as well, and you have to be involved in the community. And you can't sit in the office, or you can't be out of county, or not around and know what's going on inside the office and inside the county. I believe on staying in the county and taking care of it and not worry about the outer report unless I absolutely have to. So I guess I get the first one.
Want to change it up on you? Okay. Will you uphold the Constitution as you've been sworn to do? Will you protect the rights of Wilson County citizens? Here's opposing federal overreach if necessary. This question had some statements prior to it. I'll go ahead and read it. This year we have seen government do anything they can to get away with, constitutional or not. In 6 months, we could have a Democrat-controlled federal government that has vowed already to take our guns, oppose our religious rights, and our privacy rights. Will you uphold the Constitution? As you're sworn to do, we protect the rights of Wilson County citizens opposing federal.
Yes, I would support the Constitution that I think it's where oath and office to uphold. Or law enforcement, if I break the law, then they deserve what they get. And if they come in here and tell me I have to give up my guns, I'm not going to happen. But, you know, time will tell. And basically, I'd uphold our Constitution.
I apologize a little bit because it's easier for me to get started talking here. Can you hear okay? You hearing okay in the back? Okay. That's the question? Okay.
I agree. We all take an oath as law enforcement officers to uphold the Constitution. However, I also believe there's a right and there's a wrong sometimes. And sometimes, you know, the government may overstep. And to me, I'm going to refer to our local county attorney, you know, as far as where we stand on a legal fight on that. If it's something that can be fought out in court, you know, because I don't know of any law enforcement officer in this county that's going to go knocking on a door and take somebody's guns away from them, you know. And if that's what the government decides to do, then I'm afraid things are going to get bad one way or the other. And I don't know where we'd stand on all that. But hopefully it don't come to that.
I've got another question or two here, and I'm sure since we talked about working sheriffs, the administrative part is going to come up. But let's open the floor up to questions from the floor now. Does anybody have a question you'd like to present to the candidates?
I love this girl. Oh, you're fired.
I always get questions and all myself and all that. A while back, you know, you mentioned all the working relationship between the sheriff's department and your local police department. Explain that just a little bit, if you would, on how you plan to work with those different agencies.
Well, I've always been a firm believer that we have police departments, you know, city, county, state, federal. We're all doing the same job, you know. It's all about the end result, you know. I don't care who gets the credit for something, you know. We all want the same goal at the end. We want to catch the criminal and get them prosecuted. You know, we want to work hand in hand with the county attorney or whatever level we're at with that. And so I believe, especially in a small community, and we already do work together real good. We all back each other up all the time. You know, everybody's just one call away from help. In saying that, I also believe the community's a big help, you know, and I think in times like right now, part of the struggle we're seeing on a national level is we've been guilty of isolating ourselves from the community. Like we're something totally different than everybody else. And I don't think that's the case. I think we are a part of the community and we need to get back to that, you know, and get rid of this divide.
I'll repeat the question. It was how are you going to deal with other law enforcement agencies?
I believe we haven't had much trouble in the past in Wilson County. I mean, the deputies, the patrolmen, and those guys get along pretty well. I have heard some discussion of where the sheriff and maybe the chiefs of police butted heads a few times or whatever. Hopefully I can get it, if I should happen to win, get in there and get all of us working together as a whole. Main thing is if the sheriff's department has something in the city, it'd be appropriate to contact the chief of the city, advise him of the situation they're talking about, and let them take care of it. That way it doesn't cause any dismay or anything in that nature. And if they okay it for the sheriff's office to go in and take care of that, then we could do that. But I believe all the agencies have to have an understanding that it's better if we all get along, and we'll get more done.
Any other questions? Yes.
Luke, what's your communication between agencies and each individual officer is extremely important, correct? What's each one of your opinion on the issue with some agencies going to a different band radio and it leaves the other agencies out? So we have no idea what's going on. And I don't mean this for special ops or events or stuff like that. I mean for your daily operation. We count on each other to back up officers, and a lot of times we hear an officer in trouble, we automatically go before we even get requested. If we don't know what's going on, that time delay is critical. I wonder what your opinion is for the shutdown of communication to the officers.
Jack, go ahead.
Well, I know what you're talking about. I know at one time, Near Shea went to 800, and we were left without communication with them. Then the sheriff's office went to the 800s and left the PDs out. I think it'd take a good hard look at going back to the regular frequencies and leaving our 800s for secret stuff. That way we have more communication between the departments, and as you say, if somebody's in trouble and they holler, at least you can hear it and go without having to go through dispatch, or which takes time and takes cost.
I agree with Jack, and I'm also aware of what's going on with the radio situation. I mean, we do currently in the O'Shea have the ability to listen to the county, so we can hear, but I know you guys can't. I agree that the 400 system was working. It just needs some updates maybe, and that's something that I believe does need some discussion with, all agencies involved and the commissioners, and see if we can get some upgrades done and maybe get a system that everybody's on, because I'm aware of times in the past where we were on separate channels and we'd be a block away from them and not even know somebody was in trouble or needing something. So it is a problem that needs addressed, and hopefully that's something that can be straightened out in the future.
Any other questions from the floor?
What can be done, not being done, about the drug problem?
The question is, what can be done about the drug problems in the county?
The drug problem, a thing everywhere you go, and it's always the number one question to us even. We're never going to eliminate it as much as we'd all love to, the perfect world, but there are a lot of things that we can do to at least start making a difference on it. And, by being active on it, which is something we've been real aggressive on there in the O'Shea, and, it's not eliminated down there. It's still there. It's all around down there. But we've made a difference down there. And, it's starting to show. People are noticing. In fact, unfortunately, some of them have moved to other communities. So, which we got people not happy about that with it. So, hopefully just getting everybody working together again, getting the morale back up to where they're excited to do the job again. We all go through spurts where we get beat down enough, it drains you. My goal would be to get everybody motivated and working together as a team and excited to do the job.
Yeah, I agree with Matt. We do need to get the morale back up out there. But another thing is what I'd look at is to restructure the sheriff's office where it has better use of the manpower. You can't take a deputy out there and have him in an investigative situation and get called off to do another call. Whatever he left there is gone. What I want to do is at least get 2 people that are, and that's all they do is investigate. And to do drugs, you have to have surveillance, a lot of time spent. Sometimes you need some pretty good equipment to get photos and things like that. Another thing is, and probably not going to want to hear it, but we need the citizens' help. We may drive by that house one time a day. We can't see what's going on there all day long. Their neighbors can. And without the input and the information has to be current. It can't be something that you heard 3 weeks ago or you knew 3 weeks ago. Because we have done drug cases with the citizens coming in and saying, hey, this is going on. It just happened a couple hours ago. We can take that fresh information and go and type up a search warrant and see if a judge will find it. And that way we can go get it taken care of. Some investigations will take a long time because we don't have the information we need. If we don't get the input from the citizens to help us out, we have to do it on our own. In Erie, of course, they were complaining about the drug situation there, which is a worldwide problem. That we need citizens' input. Of course, they say citizens doesn't want their house burnt, they want their cars interrupted, so you do it yourself. It took me about 6 months to get enough to get the search warrant. Thank you.
We still got a little bit of time. And other questions? Yes.
Gentlemen, I have a question. Being a county commissioner, one of the things when I first came in 4 years ago was I noticed that our LEC didn't have a population in it, out of county inmates, and there was some issues there in the past. We've got some out of county inmates back, but as you both know, the LEC requires a lot of attention. It wasn't built. We had a change of commissioners when it was being built, so there was lots of shortcuts made. We have spent a lot of money on that facility, and some of that's been because we've had some out of county inmates. My question is, how do you feel about out of county inmates?
Matt, go ahead.
I don't know what the current status is as far as with the facility out there, but I am aware that over the years there has been a lot of issues out there from the time it was built even. As far as out of county inmates, there's pros and cons to that. And, until I'm in that position to where I can really see what all's going on, that's a tough one for me to answer. I haven't had a chance to talk to the commissioners. I really don't know what's currently going on out there at the moment. It would be something I'm all for considering, but I'd want to know all the facts as to what's going on and what we're facing with it too.
I agree with Matt. I'd have to get in the position because I haven't really worked back there. I've been back there a lot, but to know exactly what's going on other than what I hear and a little bit of what I see, out of county inmates bring in revenue. It depends on where you want to keep the revenue. They also cause most of the problems, which cost money and time to take care of. So have to get in there and weigh the better or the worst to find out which way would be the best to help out. And like I said, a lot of it's revenue, but we have a budget, and I don't know if that revenue is added into the budget or not. So it's something you really have to look at after you got in there.
Any other questions? Yes.
My name is Russ Walker. About 3 years ago, I had a cattle chute stolen, $7,000 cattle chute, portable. Called in that evening, reported stolen. Deputy came out, right on the street, being rude. I tried to explain to him, the gate was, when I got there, the gate was wide open. I showed him there was tracks. He ain't good at tracks. He took the report. I understand how reports are. And he said, we probably won't find this thing. I said, really? Matter of fact, he said, we're not even going to look for it. I said, why not?
don't have time. I said, are you gonna turn the report in? And I don't believe it's ever turned into the state. I checked later, it had never done. I called over there and said, I'd like a copy of the report. Couldn't get a copy of the report. The insurance company finally did. And I said, well, who's investigating this? And I believe it was Jack who was investigating this. I was never notified. Nobody ever came and talked to me about anything. So I went to county commission meeting. Mr. Piggins was there, and I said, Pete, are you going to do anything about my account sheet? I said, it wasn't in the paper. They didn't turn things into the paper so we knew what was going on, the thefts in the area. He said, it wasn't worth enough. Check into. I said, $7,000 wasn't worth enough to follow up on? Nope, sure wasn't. Anyhow, we have had gates stolen off of our fences over there. Yes, sir.
Question, please.
The question is, how are you going to do something different now? Why do you think you should be sheriff now? You've been in there, how many, 19 years? I can go on and on and on about the drug problem in Altoona. And nothing's being done. The only time there's anybody arrested is when the judge sends out a bench warrant.
Is that the question?
Yeah. And why do you think you deserve to be sheriff?
Okay, Jack, you're up next.
Okay. Well, it's going to be up to the citizens of Wilson County. What you're talking about, I understand. I was in the investigative court, also lieutenant. I was taking care of a lot of other situations. And a lot of the deputies, whether you want to believe it or not, would tell the victim that I would be investigating it. And a lot of times I didn't. Sometimes I didn't see a report. Get a phone call, what are you doing with this? Haven't heard about it. So I got to go take the report up. Investigating, that's the reason I want to get at least 2, and that's all they do. They're not pulled off to do something else. They're not in charge of something else that has to get done. Their time will be spent on that. And instead of the deputy taking the report, they can be called out and take the report because they know what they want to look for, and they can do their report, and they take on the investigation. A lot of times to find stuff that's stolen, you have tracks, you said, you get tire tracks, go to Walmart, you look on the internet, you try to find out what type of tire that was. There's a lot of brands that same tread, same that, same way with tennis shoes, any kind of shoe has tread. Back in the 1800s, when there was just horses, you could probably easily trail the person that took that. Now that there's automobiles, there's highways, you can't track on the highway. You can check with salvage yards, you know, all that stuff, trying to find stuff. And if that person running that yard is not honest, you're not going to find it. And a lot of times we investigate, we need a little more information. We ask the victim to do that for us, so we will have it. It doesn't get done, so it sort of blocks the investigating part. So, I know another stuff, doing a burglary and theft, couldn't get inside the place at the time. They thought they had the right key, they didn't. I told them when they got the time and the right key, call me. I can come over and finish investigating. Never got the call. So it's hard to investigate crime if you don't know what's going on. But my plan is to get at least 2 people, that's all they do, is investigate. Work, I'd like to follow up with that. When I asked the deputy, I said, are you going to go back and are you going to put it on the wire in the sheriff's office, the Fort County area? Nope, I don't have time. I said, really? So I called Sheriff Groves in Cherokee County. I told him what had happened. He said, it was Sunday evening.
He said, I'll run up right now, but I'll put it on the fourth state area. And he did.
It can be
That's
done.
cooperation. You know, that's law enforcement as far as I can see.
Yeah,
This is not business.
it should be done, put on a wire. One of the issues with burglaries and thefts is people don't have their serial numbers. They have no way to identify that. A lot of times it's a Black and Decker drill. No numbers, no nothing. We could probably find a Black and Decker drill, but whether it's theirs or not, don't know. We need numbers. If we have numbers, we can put it into the National Crime Information Center. We've had guns that's been stolen that turned up in Oklahoma City, Wichita, all around. But there's ways to do that, and I apologize if that stuff didn't get done with yours. I was the deputy that took the report, and I don't recall if we got the report or not. The state never got the report.
Okay.
Never turned in one.
Okay, Jack, thank you. We'll leave the same question to you, but be congenial and address, and you can come back and again, you've addressed about the two detectives, but address what you would do. Because the purpose is not the past, the purpose is the future.
Basically, the thing I would like to change when it comes to that is I go back to the communication issue. Communication in any agency has always been a key issue. When the officers or the deputies aren't passing stuff back and forth to each other, you know, this shift over here don't even know something happened, you know. The one thing in today's society, you know, technology, which I'm not a tech, but email, you know, we check our emails every day when we come in down there in Hearsay, you know, and if anything's happened, you know, we'll know about it. We also come in every day and we look through the reports that's been taken and all the calls. So, you know, I don't get bombarded when I hit the streets that day. Somebody comes up to me and asks me something and, you know, I don't know nothing about it because I've already read what's happened so far, you know, and that's something I would like to really see is, you know, everybody come in every day. And I realize as a deputy, you're out in the county. Maybe you're coming from Buffalo before you ever make it to the office. So you may not get it right then and there, but as soon as you get the chance, you need to hit the office and check your emails and check through the reports, dispatch logs, stuff like that. It's the little things like that that I believe makes an overall difference on an investigation when you're looking for stolen property or whatever the crime may be. You know, it's communication.
Go ahead if you got it all to add to it. Go ahead.
Let's just add a little bit, Matt, right, need teamwork. Got to have teamwork to get anything solved. This guy might know a little bit, this guy may know a little bit. Or communication, what the deputies do is log on the dispatch log, and you should read it when you first come in on your shift to know what went on prior to that. But you do need teamwork. Another thing to get that started is have meetings at least once a week to get everybody together, or at least the head part, and see what's going on and what needs to be done, and where the investigation needs pinpointed to get more stuff done.
Okay, thank you. Next one's for you. Do you have any budget, money, operation questions? I believe the budget is might be way off $1.8 million. And we got deputies and staff that are the men and men on the ground that need to pay well. We got then all of the facilities and the equipment. I'm not going to really put that in the question, but just deal with it for us a little bit. You're first, man.
Basically, it's kind of tough because without being out there at the office currently, you know, I don't know what all needs replaced, what all's broke, what all's needing upgraded. And as far as the staff and stuff, I don't know what their current wages are and situations on that. However, you know, it's not my money. You know, it's everybody in here's money. And I believe you need to be wise with that, you know, and it needs to be spent in the best ways possible to benefit everybody in the community, you know, and upgrading equipment for the deputy, fixing repairs on the building, whatever. I mean, in the overall, that benefits the community because, you know, the better equipment we have to operate with, the better we can serve the community. But it is you guys' money, and I believe it needs to be spent wisely.
Okay.
For the 1.8 million, as the last I heard, half of that is supposed to be for the jail. So they split it in half. Half of it's for the sheriff's office. What you need to do to figure a lot of the stuff up, you're going to have to figure out your monthly cost, your rent, your water, all that stuff, what your food and everything's going to cost you for the jail, your wages, and that. What I'd like to do is figure all that up, take what's left, divide it into 12, because you have 12 months in a budget. Then look at what you have left to see what you can do. I know a lot of training classes cost money, and the equipment, like ammunition and stuff, if they have to have that, costs money. And we'd have to take a hard look to send anybody to a paid school to see if that is going to do the department any good. I know they spend a lot of money sending people to classes, didn't get anything out of it. Which, basically waste money. But there's lots you have to look at. I haven't really seen this budget. I know of it. They used to come and ask me if they could take this out of this part of the budget. I'd have to tell them I don't know because I haven't seen this part. But I know it's broken down in sections. You've got so much money for this section and that section and all. We'd have to get in there and take a good hard look at what we actually have before you can decide how much we have left over, and hopefully can give raises and do that.
Okay.
How satisfied are you with the separation of the dispatch as its own entity and the sheriff's office as its own entity?
Well, it's been that way for the last at least 15 years, pretty close. You have the committee that they go to. The sheriff was in charge of the dispatch. Of course, they got their own budget, so that has a little more than the sheriff's office budget. But I wouldn't mind if they got it back, but stay separated. It'd be, I don't know, it'd be hard telling somebody to look at in the future. What they want to do. I know why it was taken away because one wanted to waste too much of what was going on in there, which he didn't know a whole lot about. So.
I was there back when it was taken away as well, and there's good and bad to it. There's times where officers have problems with dispatch and stuff, but sometimes that doesn't always get handled right. People blow up and react instead of just getting with their supervisor or getting with Bambi, who's currently in charge of it, and trying to work some things out. I've always had a good relationship with the dispatch, because they are our lifeline. We're never going to all agree all the time. We're going to have disputes. But, if people are willing to talk to each other, you can work through disputes. Sometimes you just have to agree to disagree on things. So,
Actually, the communication issue.
right.
Mark, I have a question, and it might actually be more for county commissioners that are present. Is the jail paid for?
Yeah.
Is it paid off?
Does it keep its operations paid up?
Yes.
Hey, we have, I left a little bit of time for a closing statement if either of you guys, if you want to make a closing statement and that rehash whatever, just go where you want to go with that. If you want to both do that, okay. All right. Who was first to start with? Yeah, Jack, you're first. Okay.
As I said, I see a lot of changes that could be made in the sheriff's office. I have worked there 19 years. I've been in investigations. I know what some of that stuff they're talking about, and I want to improve that. In a position that I was in, I could make suggestions to the upper administration. If they liked it, they might go with it. If they didn't like it, it didn't happen. So being in the sheriff's position, if I want that change, I can make it happen. And hopefully better everything for the community and get better service out of the law enforcement for all kinds of criminal investigation. I mean, there's drugs, there's burglary, there's theft, bad check, forgery. There's a lot of stuff going on. But have a lot teamwork. Want to implement that. Meetings, discussion with the employees, evaluations. Look at the budget, see what we can do. I know that it's not getting paid a lot of money. Probably a lot of the PDs are getting paid better than the sheriff's office. I want to look at that real hard and just hopefully make it a better place to work. Make your employees happy. They work harder and better for you, and hopefully that will get better. More cases solved, and or it will be better for the community and their law enforcement needs. Thank you.
I'm kind of on the same path there. I mean, I live in the community. I live out in the rural county. You know, I do work in the shade, but, you know, even being out in the community, you know, especially out in the country, you know, some of these small towns, you know, I see things going on, you know, every day. And I get bombarded by people, even in the community, saying, why can't you do something with this? You know, well, it's not my area. And I'm not putting any of the deputies down. You know, I've talked to a lot of the deputies, you know, and a lot of them are frustrated right now. They just a lot of things going on in their own situation. You know, hopefully that can all be improved to where they're happy to be there again and, you know, take pride in, you know, putting that uniform on and going out and serving the community. You know, I chose to step up to this position a few years ago. If you would have asked me, there wasn't no way I even had a desire to. But, you know, I watch what's going on. I'm watching what's going on nationally, and doing nothing at all is not going to make a difference. You know, I don't have all the answers, but at least make an effort to do something. And, you know, we'll just see what we can. Thank you.
Thank you, man. Just a second. And you guys, would you and all law enforcement stand up? Anybody in law enforcement, just stand up, please. Jack, let's get him. Tough job. And these days it's really tough. And even though we live in this more isolated community than a lot of the news we watch, we appreciate the guys that put their lives on the line to go keep it safe for us and for our property. And there's nobody perfect, but I'm just thinking, would I do the job? No, I don't want that job. How about you? No.
I'll run the tractor and trailer.
Yeah, we got good men running, and thank you very much for being here. Appreciate you putting yourself out for us. Thank you very much.